So we are going to start his essay because he has a collection of different essays, and every single essay talks about the life of the people at a higher level, not with the higher ideas too, but with on a higher level with easy language. Ideas are, you may also know about the style. So what are the ideas going to be about? So you will judge it. On the other side, this seems to be, because you know that literature all the time produces a trajectory, a stream or a light, actually a trajectory that comes from the past, that comes and that goes right into the future. So what that trajectory that he has also followed, you will see that he seems to be the one who is the follower of Chaucer in the style of his artistry. Because you see that every single character, like of truth, of studies, of single life and marriages, and all of the other essays of Francis Bacon, they seem to be strongly influenced by the art of characterization of Geoffrey Chaucer. And you know that Geoffrey Chaucer's writing style was influenced by Decameron, by Giovanni Boccaccio's Decameron. And Decameron was influenced by the Roman and the Greek literature. It means that this is a trajectory that comes from the past and goes directly into the future. And I would say that it distributes its light when it moves through the air, that trajectory or that light, when it moves through the air, it gives the illumination to every section of life, or I would say every century. So that is the reason we say that they all are alike in different ways. All the writers belonging to different ages, they all are alike in different ways. They all are alike in their approaches, in their ideas. Sometimes the language is different, but the ideas and the ideologies and the philosophies, or even though the structures or the model that he is also, yeah, we see that he is also one of those people who follows the past but in a different way. Like he does not follow the past that he is overwhelmed by the past. He's not preoccupied some motivations from the past. But what he does, or every writer does, this is okay. Is there any problem with my voice?
Yes, sir.
यस सर, वो रुक रुक के आ रही है.
Okay. From the beginning of the lecture, or
नो सर, ये 2-3 मिनट बस पहले जो.
okay. What should I do? Just wait a while. Because I just was busy. I have a call earlier. I was thinking that might be it is the problem with that call. Okay, let me see if I can be. Okay, let me join then once. Okay, if the problem is persistent, so you may send a message in the comment bar. Okay, if it remains persistent after this as well. So what we were talking about.
Francis.
Sorry. Okay, just wait for azan. Wait for azan. and I think I must be joining the meeting once again, so might be the problem. Will just wait. So we were talking about Francis Bacon's style. We were talking about that how he has followed the literary tycoons, the literary giants in his writing style, and he was successful. He was succeeded in his approach. So today we are going to talk about his essay, one of the most, I would say, proficient essays, that is of truth. So I'm just going to share my screen with you people. Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is Of Truth by Francis Bacon. The first essay that we can see. I cannot read the messages now. What is it? Okay. So Of Truth is all about, I would say, the experience, the practical knowledge and the practical experience of Francis Bacon, that based on the lives of the people, that based on the beliefs of the people, that based on the beliefs of all the people who are living in that age, in the times. So we will see that how and from which angle he tries to talk about this important or this belief of the people, like of truth, and how he just, I would say, diminishes the miscreants, he diminishes the non-believers who do not believe on this belief or who do not believe on this aspect of truth. So he will be just pointing the different aspects related to this essay from every section of life, from every walk of life. So just let's take a look at what it was all about. So you have to just take the notes if something is not understandable, so you can take the notes as well. Okay, so Of Truth, it is the first essay in his from the book Essays or the Councils. What is truth? Said jesting Pilate. Jesting Pilate, he is an ancient Roman governor. He's ancient Roman a Roman governor and governor of Georgia, in the name of the places, and would not stay for an answer. It means that he is Pilate is or a Roman governor because he is not interested in truth and lies, rather that he is interested all the time in his governance, in his authority, in his power. So you know that most of the time when the people are at great places, they do not care about such things of truth and lies, because whichever or whatever suits them, so that is the thing that they mostly follow. Okay, so the distortion is again. What should I do now? I don't know that what happened with this network. Okay, might be it is an internet problem. So I think that Fahad or anyone else, can you please share a link, or can you post the class? Might be that is the problem. Might be that is, but
सर वॉइस तो बिल्कुल क्लियर आ रही है, कोई इशू नहीं हो रहा अब तो.
Okay then fine. I think that Tuba said that voice is not persistent. Okay, fine then. We can continue. So we were talking about that Pilate, who is a governor, who is an authority, and such people, they do not care about the truths or the lies or the other trivial matters, but they are only caring about their authorities or their powers to be implemented and to be practiced on the people. So the first argument that is Francis Bacon has taken, he started with a question that what is truth? What is truth? And now this is not a question that he is actually asking for any kind of justification for this, because this is a question that is asked by Pilate, governor, and he asked this question in a jesting manner. He asked this question in a satirical manner. It means that he is not serious to talk about the truth, and he just takes, oh, what is truth? That is nothing, and would not stay for an answer. It means that he is not interested in to know about, or he is not interested in knowing the meaning of truth, because he does not consider it. Certainly there will be, slowly and gradually your understanding will be developed, so you just need to pay your full attention on everything, because this is how you are going to develop your attention. Certainly there will be that delight and giddiness. Might be that there will be a pleasure. Giddiness means any kind of unpleasant feeling or unstable feeling. Certainly there will be that delight in giddiness or in that instability, and count it a bondage to fixed belief. So might be that is this truth is a bondage. It creates a boundary. It creates a fixed boundary in the minds of the people. And let me tell you one thing, that all these things are philosophical. So you have to understand all these things with your open mind and with your full attention. Because if you do not pay attention on any single line or anything, or even though when we are starting this, so then the things that you will be studying after that will not make any sense for you people. He says that account is a bondage. Truth creates a boundary, a fixed boundary, or a fixed belief, affecting free will in thinking. And truth also affects, it changes the free will in thinking as well as in acting. So now you can see that if you evaluate the truth or evaluate this concept of truth, you may think so that Francis Bacon has just talked about in a good way, that what does truth do? Truth gives some limitation, or it gives some fixation in your mind, some boundaries in your mind, and it does not make you to think independently or to think free will. It means that truth is making you bound. It does not create, I would say, a free will in thinking or independence in thinking, or as well as in acting. So truth circulates around. It circulates around. But on the other side, you see the lies. One lie, and after that one lie, you have to cover that one lie with 100 other lies. It means that there is more independence, or I would say creativity in lies in that sense. But in truth, if you have spoken, it means this is that it is. There is nothing addition, there is nothing inclusion or exclusion from that truth. So he says that count is a bondage to fix a belief and affecting free will in thinking as well as in acting. So it affects everything. And though the sects of philosophers of that kind be gone, yet there remain certain discoursing wits which are of the same veins. So now he talks about the groups, the sects of philosophers or the groups of the philosophers. Who are of that kind be gone? The people who belong to this philosophy, they are gone long. Like the people from the Greeks, you may call them, that they were having a philosophy of skepticism. And what is skepticism? Skepticism can be understood. It is a doctrine, it is a belief that the absolute knowledge of anything is impossible. What is this doctrine? This skepticism means that the absolute knowledge of anything is impossible. So we do not have the truth about anything, because there is no absolute knowledge, absolute truth about anything, because it is impossible. So yet there remains certain discoursing bits which are of the same base. He says that they are not all gone, all the philosophers who have the same philosophy, who have such philosophy, but there are some others, yet there remain certain discoursing wits, intellectuals, which are of the same veins. They have the same veins, and though there be not so much blood in them as was in those of the ancients, and there is no such value, no such blood means there is no such value in the talks, in the arguments of the people who were the ancient, who were, I would say, who was in the books or in the arguments of the, or in the philosophies of the ancient people. So there is no value, there is no, I would say, importance remained in the works or in the arguments of the people, of the current people anymore, because they were the old philosophers. They had that value to talk about the truth and to talk about the lies. Most of the time, they were talking about the truth. Let me give you an example of the old philosophers. You might have studied literary criticism. You might have familiar with the name Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and you may know about the debate, a literary contest between Plato and Aristotle on the subject of poetry. You know that, like the master, he was saying, Plato was saying that no, poetry is vain. poetry is all about imagination. Poetry is all about, I would say, he says that poetry is all about the falsifying effects. It does not talk about truth. On the other side, Aristotle says no, poetry is about the real life. Poetry is about the description of the real lives or the sections of the real lives. It does not talk about, rather, it talks about imagination, but it also talks about the reality also. Because it is the imitation of the reality. Aristotle says it is the imitation of the reality. It is the mimesis. It means that there is reality, and how that reality, a subject of reality, can be known because that thing or that object itself is reality. But on the other side, you have to talk about, you can do that with language definitely. So you are calling that, okay, be. Why? Because poetry talks about only the things that really exist. So it is an imitation, not a lie. It is an imitation. So in that case, like he just I would say that quotes those philosophers, those group of philosophers in this essay, just to tell you people that these are the arguments, the valid arguments of the old philosophers and of the old people. And now they are gone. But yet there remain certain discourses. There are some other philosophers, some other people, but they are not like them. They have the blood in their veins like them, but they are not the same. Yet, though there be not so much blood in them as was in those of the ancients. It means they cannot talk about, they cannot discuss the matter of lies and matter of truths in the same way as the old people, the old philosophers have done so. But it is not only the difficulty and the labor which men take in finding out of truth. This is not the difficulty actually that the people, I would say, found as a difficulty in the truth, which men take in finding out truth, nor again that when it is found is imposed upon men's thought. So now again, he says that it is not only the difficulty and labor that, okay, like the old philosophers and groups of the people, they was just kept on talking about these things and that things. Rather, again, that when it is found, it is imposed upon man's thought that doth means that does bring lies in favor. Means if someone is not speaking truth on the other side, or if you find any difficulty in understanding the truth, and if you do not find a suitable or appropriate the concept of truth, then the second thing will be the lie. That does bring lies in favor. It means if you cannot justify yourself appropriately with the truth, so what the other thing is, that is the lie that you have to take assistance from, that you have to take the help from. And but a natural, raw, corrupt love of lie itself. But that will not be the true lie. That will be the love of, I would say, the corrupt love of lie itself. So he means that sometimes people take help from the lie, even though to speak the truth. Even to speak the truth. And what is that? That though corrupt love of the lie itself. That is not appropriate idea to do so. One of the later schools of the Grecians examined the matter and is at a stand to think what should be in it, that man should love lies. So another school of the Grecian, they examined that what is in the love of lies or what is in the lies that the people like most. Like जो उनको झूठ में सबसे ज्यादा चीजें पसंद आती हैं वो ऐसी है क्या? So, and is there a matter to think what should be in it that man should love lies, where neither they make for pleasure as with poets, not for advantage as with the merchant, but for the lie's sake. Rather, there is no pleasure in the lies on the other side, as because the pleasure is only for the poets, not for the common people like you and I. It means he says that there is neither any pleasure in the lie as it is with the poets, because he considers that poets they also speak lie, because he considers imagination as a lie, because sometimes you know that they are exaggerating the situations. And not on the other side, there is no advantage. Either there is any advantage as with the merchant. So there is no advantage as the it can be the advantage for any trade man or any businessman. You know that when a businessman, when a trader, when he goes into the market, when he lies, so with that lie he earns money. If he has to sell something in the market, so what he does over there, he sells that thing. If that the real value of that thing is 1,000, but he speaks lie that okay, this is the 3,000 that I have bought it, and then he sells that thing at 2,500 rupees. So I would say that this is the advantage of the lie for a merchant, for a trader, not for you and I. There is no advantage but for the lie's sake. But what it is for the lie's sake. For you and I, this is for lie's sake. But I cannot tell. This same truth is a naked and open daylight that doth not show the masks and mummeries and triumphs of the world. On the other side, now you see that he is comparing the truths and the lies with one another. He has spoken about the lie, and now he is speaking about the truth. And he says that I cannot tell this same truth is a naked and open daylight that does not show the masks and mummeries and triumphs of the world. It means that truth is as naked, truth is as seenable, or as I would say open, as everyone can see that. There is no need to tell me anything about it, because it is like a daylight. It is like a dawn. It is not masked with mummeries. It is not like this, that it is hidden. It is not hidden. It is like a daylight. It is like a, I would say, like a like the candle lights, as he has candle lights. He shows half so stately and daintily as candle lights. So what the truth is all about? Truth is like a candle light. It is like a open daylight. So this is the value of the truth, that you do not need to mask the truth. You cannot hide the truth, because this is an open truth, this is an open reality, and everyone can know that. But on the other side, the lies, you have to speak lie, one lie, and 100 lies to cover only one. Who is this man? Mark Nisha absent. Okay. It means this
सर
is
वो निशा कह रही है कि मैं बार बार कर रही हूँ कनेक्ट, मेरे ना कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, वहां से परमिशन नहीं मिल रही.
okay. So truth may perhaps come to the price of a pearl. So what is the price? What is the value of the truth according to Francis Bacon? He says that truth may perhaps come to the price of a pearl. Might be it has the value of a pearl. That shows mean that shows best by day, but it will not rise to the price of a diamond or a carbuncle. It means the truth will remain the truth. It will not change. It is like a pearl. It is like a pearl that shows its value day by day, but it will not rise to the value of a diamond or a carbuncle. Carbuncle is a kind of, you can say, a red stone, a precious red stone. So the truth will remain truth. It will not be increased to the value of a diamond. कोई डायमंड की वैल्यू नहीं देगा. एक पर्ल जो है अगर उसको ट्रूथ के साथ जो है वो कंपेयर, it will remain truth. It will not increase the value. It is like a you will not say that it will become one day diamond or a carbuncle, the precious red stone. That shows best in varied terms. It means it will remain the same. The truth will remain the same. And what on the other side he says? He says, a mixture of a lie doth ever add pleasure. And this is the line I would say that this talks about the root, the essence of the whole essay. This is what Francis Bacon is all about. He says that a mixture of a lie doth give pleasure. What does it mean? He says that the truth gives an immense pleasure when a lie is added to it. When a lie is added to it. So truth gives you an immense pleasure. Truth gives you delight. Truth gives you, I would say, more delight experience, more pleasure experience when it will be mixed with a lie. So that mixing of truth and lie, they give more appealing effect for the people. And that is so. You know that. A truth, if you tell the people, okay, this happens, people won't believe you. And if you tell the truth with a mixture of lie, they will listen you. They will listen you. So a mixture of a lie does add pleasure. It means truth gives an immense pleasure when a lie is added to it. Doth means, does any man doubt that if there were taken out of men's minds vain opinions, flattering hopes, false valuations, imaginations as one would, and the like, but it would leave the minds of a number of men, poor shrunken things, full of melancholy and indisposition and unpleasing to themselves. What will happen? He says, mixture of truth and lie adds more pleasures into it. And after that he says that, does any man doubt that if there were taken out, if these things that he has mentioned over here, he says that if these things are taken out of the minds, like, what are they? The doubts, vain opinions, like valueless opinions, flattering hopes that does not find any kind of direction, false valuations, false imaginations, as well one would, and the like. So as the people may think, but it would leave the minds of a number of men, poor shrunken things. So if you just take out all the opinions, the vain opinions, the flattering hopes, the false valuations and imaginations from the minds of the people, what will happen? What will happen? A number of men, poor shrunken things. So there will be only the one thing. Because if you are taking all these things from the minds of the people, there will be only, I would say, melancholy, sadness, disposition, and unpleasing. So these are the things that will remain in the mind of that person. If you remove all these things, so you see that sometimes a false hopes, a false hope let you live for a longer time. एक झूठी जो उम्मीद होती है वो भी थोड़ा से आपको ज्यादा टाइम देती है जीने के लिए. और sometimes false imagination gives you more fantasized world in front of you than ever you can imagine. And sometimes the false valuation, the vain opinions. So these are the things that are mind made of. And if these things will be removed, if they will be taken out from the minds of the people, from the minds of the persons, then what will happen? What are the things that will remain there? Only the melancholies, sadness, indisposition, unpleasing things. These are the things that will remain over there. And you know that people will get mad, definitely. So sometimes the false hopes, you may remain them in your minds because it gives you sometimes the life. Sometimes the life. So this is how he talks about it. One of the fathers in great severity called poesy, vinum demonum. So one of the fathers, he has called that the poetry is in great severity, it means in great seriousness, he has called that poesy. Poesy means poetry. In the old language it was poesy. And there is a defense of poesy by Sir Philip Sidney. So he says that one of the great men, one of the great fathers, he once said that poesy vinum demanum. And what is vinum demanum? Vinum means, I think it is Italian word, because you see that most of the time the people belonging to Elizabethan age and after Elizabethan age, they had a strong influence of the Italian language on them, because you know that the revolution was also started, a renaissance was also started from Italy. So that is the reason that there are many words that the English poets and writers have taken from Italian origin. So it is Italian. So it is vinum. Vinum means, like, venom means poison, or like you can say the poison of a snake, but vinum means it is actually the wine. Or demonum means demon. Demon. Demon means you can say devil, or demon means you can say Satan. So that you can say one of the fathers in great seriousness, he has called that poetry is devil's wine. Poesy is devil's wine. And why it is devil's wine? Because it filled the imagination. Yes?
Who is the father that is mentioned here?
I will tell you, just wait a while. Actually, you know that in the Greek philosophers, in the Greek times, there were many people. There were many people. Yeah.
Sir, I think it's a Plato, because Aristotle defended his objection to the poetry.
I was just coming to her in the same way. Yeah, because he was the one who has actually said that the poetry corrupts the minds of the people. It just makes the people demoralized. So it can be in, I would say, in that direction, or it can be in other direction, because you say that it was Italian, so it might be the Italian effect was from the Greeks directly, and then this effect was taken by the English people from the Italian. So venom, the poetry is devil's wine. When you write it, when you imagine it, when you read it, what it does, it fills the imagination. It corrupts the imagination of a man, and yet it is but with the shadow of a lie. So this is, I would say that, yeah, it can be, possibly it can be, because the Greek philosopher Plato was against this concept of poetry, because he thinks so that poetry is all about falsehood. The poets are creating an imaginative world in which they feel that everything is possible. So in that case, I would say that might be it is actually an indication towards the fathers. Okay, so but it is not the lie. Now you may say that again. This is another interesting thing that he talks about. He says that uh, it is but with the shadow of a lie, but it is not the lie that passed. Passage means actually to pass through something. So it is not lie that passed through the mind, but the lie that sinked in it and settled in it. So he says that it is not the lie that actually passed through the mind. Like, yeah, it can be. It will be not a long-lasting effect when something is actually going through you, when something is touching you, like a policy of hit and run. It means in that case, it can be, I would say, probably the good thing. Like if something comes from you, something does not remain in you for a long time, but it just goes through from your body, from your mind for a temporary time period. And he says that, but on the other side, the lie that sinked in it and settled in it. But on the other side, if the lie that sinks means, sometimes that dipped into your mind, and settle in it, and it remains over there forever. He says that is a bad thing. That is the thing. He says that does the hurt, as such as we spake means spoke of before. So he says where something comes in you and it does not remain over in that mind, in your body for a long time, then it can be less effect. But on the other side, if something comes in you, it remains over there for a longer time period, then it really hurts and it really gives you the pain. Because it will make you immoral. It will make you corrupt. It will make you filthy. So this is the thing that he says. Like sometimes that we say that this is I would say, common philosophy that is associated with life of everyone. When we say that, okay, can we speak lie? And some people say, I would say the philosophers like you and I, we say that yes, we can speak lie for the interests of the people, for the goodwill of the people. It means that lie remains in your mind for any benefit, for any goodwill of the people, but that does not settle over there. Because if it will be settled over there, then it will become your habit. And if it will become your habit, what will happen? That it will corrupt your soul. It will spoil your soul. And then you will be the same the rest of your life. You will be called as an immoral person. So that is the thing that he actually stressed upon, that it is not the lie that passed through the mind, but the lie that sinks and settled in it, that does the hurt, such as we speak. But whosoever these things are, does in men's depraved judgments and affections. Yet truth which only does judge itself, teached that the inquiry of truth, which is the love making or wooing of it, the knowledge of truth, which is the presence of it, and the belief of truth, which is the enjoying of it, is the sovereign good of human nature. And now he talks about that. Howsoever these things are thus in man's depraved judgments. And what is that depraved judgment? I would say, to malign the judgments of the people, to revile the judgments, or on the other side, to corrupt the judgments of the people and affections. So, what will this thing will do? That these things will remain in the mind, and they will deprave the judgments. They will malign. They will torture. They will, I would say, corrupt the judgments and affections, the love of the people. Yet truth, which only does judge itself, teached. So, what is the truth on the other side? Because truth is the judge itself. Because you know that the truth does not need any other judge to be judged or to be evaluated, because the truth can judge itself easily. And it teaches, what it teaches, that the inquiry of truth, which is the love making or the wooing of it. Wooing is actually to persuade someone. On the other side, the woo or the wooing is actually to persuade someone to marry or for any proposal. But you can take the meaning of wooing, that to persuade someone with your good character, in the same sense. Okay, you can persuade someone with your truth, with your trustworthiness, with your, I would say, with your real appearances, with your real goodness. So you can persuade the people in that place. The knowledge of truth, which is the presence of it, because the knowledge of truth is the presence of it. This is the presence that makes the people to attract towards you. And you know that I would say that in a shorter time period, you will come to know about that whether that person lies or whether that person speaks truth. If he is liar, then you will ultimately come to know about, and whenever he will speak, even though the truth, ultimately soon after, when you have already judged him that he's a liar, so that person will not have the same value in your senses, because that person will be losing his, or will have lost his value, his importance once in a time, in your eyes, in your sense, in your understanding. So that person will not get that status back soon, or I would say more easily. And that is the reason he says that love making or wooing of it, the knowledge of the truth, which is the presence of it, and the belief of truth. And what it is? The presence of the truth, and on the other side he talks about the belief of the truth. He says that the knowledge of the truth, which is the presence of it, and on the other side the belief of the truth, which is the enjoying of it. Like he talks about two things. The first is the knowledge of truth. Like if you have the knowledge of truth, only, but you do not speak that knowledge of truth. If you have the knowledge of truth, what it is, that it is the presence of it. It is only the presence of it, nothing else, because you didn't speak that truth out. आपने सिर्फ बोला ही नहीं है, तो किसी से बात ही नहीं की उस मामले में, तो that remained in your mind. उसकी presence ही वो है. लेकिन on the other side, if you believe on the concept of truth, that is the enjoying of it. That is the real delight of the truth. It means that if the knowledge is in your mind only, it is the presence of it. But if you speak, if you have the strong belief of the truth, then it is the enjoying of it. It is the real, I would say, pleasure and delight of it. Is the sovereign good of human nature. So this is the sovereign good. This is for the ultimate goodness of the human nature, or for the nature of a man, because the belief that matters, not the presence. So it is the belief that matters, not the presence that we can say matters, because the presence can be of the truth can be in this world all the time. The possibility is all the time of the truth in this world, but we do not take that option. We do not opt that option. Why? Because we know that there is no delight, there is no pleasure, there is no advantage, there is no benefit in the truth. But we are just all the time after the lies, because lie gives you pleasure, lie gives you benefits, it gives you advantage, it gives you opportunities. So that is the reason. But on the other side, Francis says that it is a sovereign good of human nature. So you have to believe on the truth instead of you are believing on the presence of it, because it exists in the world, whether you believe or not. But the belief will make you to enjoy that truth in a real sense. And that is the sovereign rule, sovereign goodness of human nature. Yes, are you people with me?
Yes, sir.
I hope so that the things are not complicated and they are not making you confused about this. So the first creature of God in the works of the days. Okay, what time is? I think it is 1 o'clock. So if you want to go for your Juma prayers, so you can. Otherwise, if you just ask me to continue, so then we have to just finish this essay. Yeah. What do you people want? Should I continue? Yeah.
So is there any particular book that consists of the essays of our course?
Yeah. I have that book, but I will send you the book. It is of Francis Bacon's essays, even though from the same book that I am just teaching you people. So I have downloaded this book and I'll be sharing you this book in the group soon after this class.
So it's mean we have to read only Francis Bacon's essays.
Sorry?
So we have to read only Francis Bacon's essays, yeah, or
there are many other. No, there are many other, like Stuart Mill. We have to just go through. I would say Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travel, then Stuart Mill's essays on liberty, and then there is another writer. I just forget about him. He is actually writer of The Subjection of Women. So then it means that we have almost 4 writers to include in this course. Let me see if I can find it.
So please send the outline, because we have to purchase the book that consists of 4 writers.
Okay, surely. Yeah, there are 3 or 4 writers, I think so. Let me see if I have the course outline. Yeah, I have it. So Francis Bacon's Of Truth, the first essay that we are going through, and after that of Marriage and Single Life, then there will be the third essay that is of studies, and then the fourth essay will be of parents and children. So four essay by Francis Bacon, and after that Charles Lamb. So Charles Lamb's essays, Green Children, Poor Relations, and Old China. These are the three essays by Charles Lamb. So then the third, Jonathan Swift. So we will be studying Jonathan Swift's prose, Gulliver's Travels, and after that we will be studying John Stuart Mill, the fourth writer, and his two essays on liberty, the subjection of women. So this is the course outline that I will be sending you shortly after the class.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we were talking about that how he talks about the experiences, and when I think talk about this thing like of truth and lies in our lives, like we have the same effect, we have the same, I would say, the same things in our lives too. So that is the case that he has picked every practical knowledge or the implementation of his knowledge from the sections of the society, and that is you are studying actually. He further talks about that the first creature of God in the works of the days was the light of the sense. So the light of the sense, he talks about that the first thing that the God has done, the God has created, and the God has given was the light of the sense. And what is actually the discovery of the light of the sun? You see that God has, because this is a Christian belief, and according to the Christian belief, they said that God has created this world, and God has created firstly the light of the sense that we call, in other sense we can also call it as Noor. So in there they are calling it as the light of the sense. Okay. On the second thing, that the last was the light of reason. First of all, there was the light of sense, and then second was it was the light of reason. So the first thing that God created was light, and the final thing that he created was the rational faculty which he bestowed upon man. And then, so now you can say that first of all it was the light, and second was it was the rational faculty which he bestowed. You can say he has, first of all he created the human being, and after that he gave the life to the human being, he gave the reason to the human being, he gave the sense to the human being, he gave the material to the human being. So that is what he means about. And after that he says that, and his Sabbath work ever since is the illumination of his spirit. And this is, you can say, the illumination that God, he has completed. I would say that the Sabbath work according to Christianity means that Sabbath work was the day in which the God has taken rest, because he has already created the world, he has created the human beings, he has created the planets, he has created, according to Christian belief I'm saying, and according to their beliefs, that God has made or created this world and the human beings, then the sky, then the earth, and everything around, birds, animals. And after then, I think it was the sixth day or the seventh day, that is called the Sabbath day. And in that Sabbath day, the God has taken rest, or he has taken relaxation, because he has already created the world and then he rested. So this is their belief. And ever since is the illumination of his spirit. So you can say that having completed his work of creation, God has ever since illuminating or giving the light to the minds of the human beings with his divine spirit. Because you first see the light of the sense, the light of the reason. So that is actually the light of the gods, that is illuminating the minds, that is illuminating the spirits, that is illuminating the souls and the bodies of the human being since the creation of this world. So this is, you can say, their belief. And then first he breathed, breathed light upon the face of the matter or chaos. Then he breathed light into the face of man. It means, first of all, he gave the life, he gave the light into the face of the matter or chaos. Then he breathed light upon the face of the matter or chaos. Then he breathed light into the face of the matter or chaos. Then he breathed and inspired light into the face of his chosen. And then he has given some special light to his chosen people. You may call, like sometimes people, the Christian says that Jesus Christ is the Son of the God, of the Holy God, and in the Holy Trinity you can also see that. So, according to their belief, Jesus Christ is a special and a chosen prophet or a God according to them. For us, he is prophet. He has given a special light, and that light into the face of his chosen, and that is his special one. So the poet that beautified the sect or this group that was otherwise inferior to the rest, Seth means said, yet excellently well. And what it is a pleasure to stand upon the shore and to see ships tossed upon the sea, a pleasure to stand in the window of a castle and to see a battle and the adventures thereof below. But no pleasure is comparable to the standing upon the vantage ground of truth. So a hill not be commanded, and where the air is always clear and serene, and to see the errors and wanderings and mists and tempests in the vale below. So always that this prospect be with pity. So you see that this is a line, these are some lines. I think that this is by, might be from Shakespeare's work. Oh, okay. So the purpose of sharing this line to talk about the creation, to talk about the things around the human being that uh, they consider that this is the truth, because the tempest, the mountains, and the other things, they all are actually in a case the real examples or the concrete examples of truth for the writer. So that is the reason that he can say that these are the things upon the vantage ground of truth, and a hill not be commanded, and where the air is always clear and serene. So we can see that he talks about, just by taking an example by Shakespearean work, or might be another work. I do not exactly know about this, so you can search on it. So value the truth, just to value the truth. And then, not with swelling or pride, certainly it is heaven upon earth to have a man's mind, move in charity, rest in providence, and turn upon the poles of truth. So this is clearly and certainly, it is, you can say, seventh, as it is heaven upon earth, because the things that he has mentioned, the things that he has talked about, the mountain, the tempests, the glorification, the nature, everything, it is the heaven upon earth, you can say. And to have a man's mind, move in charity, rest in providence, and turn upon the poles of truth. And there is no option, I would say, that the people are turning from the poles of truth, from the aspects of truth, because when they can already enjoy the truth on the heaven, sorry, the truth on the earth, the heaven on the earth. So there is no other thought to talk about such veins. To pass from theological and philosophical truth to the truth of civil business, it will be acknowledged even by those that practice it not. So you say that you can say that even though uh, the truth in the theological forms, in the forms or in the fields of philosophical, so like you see that the truth remains the truth. Like truth is, you can say, not important only in one field of life, like in theology or in the philosophy, but it is actually the demand, it is the necessity of every section of life. So he says that to pass from theological and philosophical truth to the truth of civil business, it will be acknowledged even by those that practice it not, that clear and round dealing is the honor of man's nature. So what is it? He says that truth cannot be born in the churches. It cannot be born in the theological matters. It cannot be born in the philosophies only. It cannot be born in the providences. It cannot be born in the beliefs. The truth must be born everywhere. Because the society or the human beings or the people, if they believe on the truth, they believe on the theology, they believe on the God. Or on the other side, you know that philosophy is all the time considered to be the closest form of rationality, or even though the rationality, and philosophy is equal to truth. That was the reason for Plato not to accept imagination, because philosophy does not talk about imagination, it talks about rationality, it talks about truth, the real existence of the things. But poetry does not talk about rationality and reasons. It talks about subjectivity. And subjectivity is based upon the emotions and the sentiments of the people. So that is the reason he says that the truth must not be born in the fields of philosophies or in the matters of theology, the matters of the religion, the matters of the God, or in the churches. Rather, it must be the necessity of every person, even though of the ordinary life and of the common life, or of every section of the life. Why? He says that the clear and round dealing is the honor of man's nature. This is the reason. Because it is the honor of a man, it is the dignity of a man who deals with the truth, and people call that person as, you can say, as the trustworthy person, or as the person full of truth. And that mixture of falsehood is likely ally in coin and of gold and silver, which may make the metal work the better. Excellent, excellent. He says that the mixture of falsehood in the truth is like an ally. Ally means the mixing of two things, or intermixing of two things. It means that the intermixing of truth and lie is same like as the mixing of or intermixing of gold and silver. What it will do? The mixing of gold and silver, that will make the metal more stronger. It will make the metal work the better. It means the work, it will work, it will be more stronger, it will be more complete in a sense. But there is one thing, but it ambassador. It ambassador. Ambassador means actually to reduce the value of something. Because you know that sometimes the go, what are they? The jewelers, the gold jewelers. What they do actually, they are intermixing some other metals like copper sometimes and sometimes the other metals into gold. What it happens that the thing is sold, and even though it seems appropriate and it seems good, there is no. But on the other side, there is another advantage of it, that it is a strongest metal that becomes with the intermixing of copper and of gold. It becomes more stronger. But he said that it ambassador. It decreases the value of the gold and of both of the metals, especially of the gold. So that is the reason he says that yeah, the mixing or the intermixing of falsehood or of the truth is like an alloy in coin of gold and silver. It looks good, it reacts strong, and which make the metal work better, but it embezzles. It decreases its value. It decreases its value, its strength, its even though its price too. And for these winding and crooked courses are the goings of the serpents. And what it is like, the people who do so, the people who are actually intermixing the things, intermixing the lies and the truth, intermixing the metals, even though the silver with the gold. What is actually for that people that he says? He says that for these winding and crooked courses are the goings of the serpent, which goes, both means goes basely upon the belly and not upon the feet. It means the people who are crooked, who are the crooked and winding, what will happen to those people, that these things that they feel the advantages are, that they are the advantages, that they are the benefits for them. What will happen to those people? That these things will be like the serpents, like the snakes, and they will be on the bellies of them, not on the feet, but on the bellies. It means that they will give a horrific picture. He has given a horrific pictures of the people, of the mercenary drudges, of such corrupt businessmen and tradesmen, that they, if they do so, if the people who take the assistance of lies sometimes and sometimes of the truth, what will happen with them? That there will be serpents and snakes on their bellies, but not on their feet. It means if the snakes are the serpents on the bellies, it gives more horrific picture than that of the feet. There is no vice that does so cover a man with shame as to be found false and perfidious. So there is no vice that does so cover a man with shame as to be found false and perfidious. So this is even the practice. Even those who do not practice truth know that honest and straightforward dealings show the dignity and the respect or the honorability of a man. And if he does not so, that person is found false, perfidious, corrupt, and that is the vice of that man. And therefore Montaigne said prettily, beautifully or beautifully. Said means said. So Montaigne, he was a French essayist. He was a French essayist, and he is quoting actually Montaigne, and you can see that he has quoted two people. One was the Pilate. He was I think so from the Roman. Yeah, he was the Roman governor, and on the other side Montaigne, he is the French. So he is also quoting him in his essay when he inquired the reason why the word of the lie should be such a disgrace and such an odious charge. because everyone thinks that why this word, he inquires about that why the word lie have such a disgrace, have such a degradation in the eyes of the people, and it has an odious charge in the eyes of the people. He said that if it be well baked, if it be well baked to say that a man lied. He means actually by saying this or by quoting this that if it be well baked, it means that if uh, the man is brave towards something, might be, or the possibly, if a man is actually brave towards the God or the face of the God, to say that a man lie, but on the other side, he is not brave to the human beings. He's a coward to the human beings. He means to say that. For example, he says that is as much to say. So that upper statement is as that he is brave towards God and a coward towards man. Because when he speaks lie, he is fighting with the God, and he shows himself, he presents himself that he is directly lying to the face of the God. And on the other side, he's a coward in the eyes of the people, because he thinks so that by lying he is proving himself good enough. Rather, he's a coward in the eyes of the man. So this is what he Mantigny actually quoted about such lie and truth. Very beautiful line. For a lie faces God and shrinks from man. It means that for a lie faces God. You will face the God if you lie, and then shrinks from man, then there is no space for you in the human being or in the humanity. Surely the wickedness of falsehood and breach of faith. Breach means there is a gap, any kind of break or gap. A gap in your faith or in your belief. So surely the wickedness of falsehood and breach of faith cannot possibly be so highly expressed. So this break or the hole in the faith, this gap in the faith cannot be fulfilled. This cannot be celebrated. This cannot be compensated, because you lie with the God, not with the human. And this whole can never be fulfilled. As in that it shall be the last peal to call the judgments of God upon the generations of man, it being foretold that when Christ cometh, what will happen? He shall not find faith upon the earth. When the Christ will come, he will not see any faith on the earth, because the Christ, according to their belief, has shed his blood for the salvation of the humanity. He shed his blood. And on the other side, when Jesus Christ will come back again, in the Christianity, they also have the same belief, and in our belief, we have belief as a prophet that he will come back again. He will be sent by the God. He will be resurrected. And when he will come here, there will be no faith upon the earth in the people, because they have already breached their beliefs with the falsehood, with the lies. And it shall be the last peal, the last call, you can say, the sound. Last peals mean when the bells will be tolling. It means it is the day of the judgment, when the last day will be there, and God upon the generations of man, then it being foretold that when Christ will come, what will happen? There will be no, you can say, belief on earth. So this is all about of truth. So if you have to ask something about today's, then you can today's lecture you can ask right now, because we are done with this essay. Yes, anyone? Hello, guys. I'm
No,
asking
sir.
that any questions? Okay then. Uh, yeah, then I think that we must end this class, and you can just now go for your prayers, and I'm also going. So thank you so much. But if you have any question about anything, you can ask me in the next class. So till then, thank you so much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.